Alright, welcome back everyone, it's your Code King Zaf here, back with an updated tier list video. As you know, we just got Goto in the game, and honestly speaking, he's not a bad hunter. We have some adjustments to make when it comes to our tier list, so I'll cover that, but do note, when it comes to this tier list, it is just based on my opinions and my opinions alone. If your opinions differ, let me know in the comments. I'm very curious what everyone thinks. We all have different gameplay experiences, but I do want to mention a few things. When it comes to capable units like Silvermane and Alicia, the reason why I rank them so low is because they don't really have any content that's catered towards them. Right now, with Alicia, she only has the Vulcan game mode, and we wouldn't summon for a unit for such easy content, so not ideal. And when it comes to Silvermane, he really doesn't have any major content for him, so although he's very strong, his kit is very unique, we just can't use him, which sucks. But I do want to cover all of the units here. We have Gunhee, one of the best units in the game, providing break, buffs, and also DPS so good. We have Esil, and the reason why we rank her up so high is because as of the current update, remember, this tier list here reflects the current game state. I'm not talking about the future game, I'm talking about the game right now. So I think Esil is such a good unit for the guild boss, providing buffs to Kanae. And speaking of Kanae, she's waiting right here, and honestly speaking, she's one of the best units in the game right now, which is honestly pretty surprising considering she's just, I guess, an underling in a sense, but an S-rank hunter nonetheless. But how about our other two hunters here? We have Thomas Andre and we have Goto, the brand new hunter. When it comes to Thomas Andre, I'm sorry, but he actually doesn't meet the Z tier mark. No, he is just an SS tier hunter. Remember, Z tier just means they're very capable, and well, not very capable, they're the best in the game right now, and Kanae fills that role. And speaking of role, make sure if you want a bunch of free codes, you go to the link down below and you get your supporter role by supporting us for free on Net Mobile Supporter Program. After you support us, you have to wait 24 hours, then you go to the top right, you press the My Page button, then this page comes up, you scroll down, my name should come up right here, you keep going down, and under receipt benefits is where all the unique codes will go. We have 6 active codes right now, 2 have expired, but we have 6 left, with 1 more coming out, so make sure you support us that way, you do not miss out. But speaking of miss, a huge shout out to Helios. They were the first commenter on our last video, so here's your shout out, bro, and enjoy that juice exclusive Discord role. And don't forget, if you're a supporter, to join our Discord server. That way you can enter in our $100 giveaways. Oh baby. Now, going back to the tier list, I do want to make some comments when it comes to our worst hunters. We have Dongso, we have Jinwoo and Lim. These hunters are just not used right now. We have Woo, and right now, based on Goto's release, he is just outclassed. I know, it's too bad. He is just not a viable hunter. Though I do have to say his passives aren't too bad, you can still use them in the early game. Even on a team of Goto, not too bad. You get a lot of bonus dashes coming in and breaks, but when it comes to buffs and damage overall, Woo is just lacking. He is literally just a, I would guess, low to mid-tier buffer and also breaker, and that's all he's really good for right now. There is a reason why he's a free unit, but don't worry, in the future, he will get brand new units of him coming out, so do stay tuned. We also have Yoonho. He is just, again, kind of a unit that's fallen off, and Emma. There are old breakers essentially, we just don't use them anymore, and we have a new addition to our A tier. We have Akari. I guess the A in Akari stands for A tier because she's okay, she's a good hunter. Her support skill is fine, she's just an amazingly clunky support unit. Although her buffs are good to our light team, she's just not a good universal hunter. We only use her for that one team. When it comes to Isla, when it comes to Meilin, they can be used on so many teams, but Akari, nope. Only on our jinwoo or light teams, which is not ideal. So she is not worth the investment. In the A tier she goes, and then we have hunters like Harper and Charlotte, which are good, but they have kind of, honestly, I'm going to say it, fallen off in a sense that we just don't need them anymore. With the introduction of Goto, he kind of takes their role as a combination breaker and damage healer when it comes to Baron, for example, so I really don't think we should summon for them right now. They are good. I mean, if we were looking at them individually, when it comes to Harper, I would move her up just a bit because she is a very good breaker. Actually, well, she's our best dark breaker and she provides very good buffs, but right now, as a package, she's just not good when it comes to the content we want her for, so I don't advise us getting her right now. But for dark content where we need a breaker and a buffer, she's honestly very good. She'll move up, honestly, in the SS tier easily, but right now, I don't feel her anymore in terms of her kit being useful, but That's just my opinion, let me know if you disagree. We have Choi as well, a great hunter, honestly. He's a debuffer and honestly a not bad damage dealer when it comes to guild boss, so he's viable. He's not bad, but he's not necessarily an SS tier hunter for sure. He's a solid top tier S rank hunter, kind of like Handsome and Lee Bora. They have their uses, but they're not exactly amazing. Like Lee Bora, we use her sometimes as a BOT battlefield time, we use her for the guild boss, but outside those pieces of content, we don't use her too much. Same with Handsome, we use her on our win teams with GOTO, very good actually. You know what, maybe her stocks go up just a little bit, probably like right here to the SS tier, but I'm going to be a bit critical on her, just because she is a bit annoying to use in my opinion, but she is a staple, don't get me wrong, when it comes to guild boss and our win teams, but I don't think you have to summon for her. She's very good, but she's not like Min where you can use her everywhere else, so do take note. And then we have hunters like Gina. Gina is the perfect hunter for our fire teams, but outside of fire teams, I don't think she's that useful, so although she's good, she's not going to be that universal class hunter we kind of want to see for our supports, but we have Meilin, we have Min, and we have Isla. These are kind of the best supports in the game right now. I do find Isla and Min to be better in terms of supporting, where Meilin is kind of secondary now in a sense. Remember, her focus was to our water teams, specifically to Alicia, but right now when it comes to supporting, I think Isla and Min do a very good job, but don't get me wrong, Meilin is amazing too. There is really not a big difference when it comes to each support here, so don't worry too much. If you have one or the other, they will work for you, or all three. Honestly, I use all three on jinwoo teams, and they work just fine. Now, when it comes to DPS units, here's where things get a bit juicy. We have Yoo Soohyun, and she's very good, do not get me wrong, but we don't necessarily have to summon for her. Her banner is gone, so she's not really like a rush unit we need to get. In the early game, she's good, but her position did fall off just a bit because we have GOTO. GOTO can basically replace her in the early and mid game, where Yoo Soohyun was very good, kind of being a unit we can use in all pieces of content. Her reign was short, but she was a great unit, and she still is, depending on content, depending on whether or not we need a bunch of defense pen coming in. But when it comes to GOTO, the, I guess, maybe fake king, but he is the king of one thing. He is the king of early and mid game players. If you want a character to carry you in every piece of content for the early and mid game, I would say GOTO is a Z tier hunter, but when it comes to late game, he is probably right around this mark here. I can't say where I want to place him exactly, but based on current content, I would find him to be right over here. His support skill is so good, he can buff every hunter in the game at a 24% bonus if he's at the advanced 4 mark, with our hunter being on the 3rd slot, making him kind of a universal buffer in a sense. He has great break, great damage, he can solo Baron Vulcan by himself pretty much, so he's a very good hunter. But right now when it comes to endgame content, there's really no endgame win content. Remember, when it comes to Baron and Baron hard mode, that is not endgame content, that's mid-game content. So just so you know, GOTO is an early to mid-game hunter, a very capable one of the best in the game. And when it comes to Choi, again, very simple, a good DPS unit. She's fantastic in the early, mid, and late game. We'll use her everywhere because we get a ton of free units. With Mirei too, her stocks kind of went up. She's not used right now, I would say, but like I mentioned, for the mid game and early game, she's a very good unit, especially when paired, yes that's right, with GOTO. So, solid options there. We have Esil, like I mentioned earlier. She is a great buffer and breaker. Well, not really a breaker per se. Her break's actually kind of slow when compared to Gunhee and GOTO, but she's still very good. Those buffs are crazy for the guild boss, making Kanae one of the best hunters in the game. I would say for looking at her alone without Kanae, she's actually not that high up. She'd probably be a bit lower down here. I would say she's still very good, but because of Kanae being in the game, and because they make sure they're so viable, that's why she's in our SS tier. And that's basically it for SR hunters. When it comes to SR hunters, honestly, there's only 1 or 2 viable hunters. Anna's very good, and all these other hunters here are usable once or twice in the game, but otherwise you're not really using them too much. They're great breakers, and Kim, well, Kim is actually very good for the battlefield time, and even for Baron, I would say Baron hard mode you can use them for the bonus break, the heavy break, not too bad at all. But otherwise with Nam, she's a good wall breaker, but everyone else here, you're not really going to use them too often. King for DPS, just not going to happen, right? SR hunters are just not used besides battlefield time in most cases, and when it comes to Anne, of course, she's a special case, giving us defense reduction, being one of the best SR hunters in the game, even honestly better than the SR hunters we have right now. I would kind of move her up if I'm being honest, where she is more useful than Dong So or Dong Poop, Jiwoo and Lim. Oh, what a sad day we live in. But that's basically it for the tier list. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments what you think. Again, these are my opinions. If yours differ, that's fine. We can't always agree. Everyone has differing opinions, so I do want to see your differing opinions. That way, we get a perspective from every single player to ensure we have the best knowledge base. But on that note, that is all I have for you today. If you enjoyed, drop a like. Make sure to subscribe. That way, I do know you want more content like this, but also make sure you support us for free. That way, I can send you a bunch of juicy codes. But on that note, this is your Code King Zaf, signing out.